natural step is a framework of principles grounded in natural science that, over the past 20 years, have gained worldwide acceptance. The natural step principles serve as a guide for businesses, communities, educators, governments, and individuals on the path towards sustainable development. The first step of the natural step principles reminds us that in a sustainable society, nature is not subject to systematically increasing concentrations of substances extracted from the Earth's crust. The second step reminds us that in a sustainable society, nature is not subject to systematically increasing concentrations of substances produced by society. The third step reminds us that in a sustainable society, nature is not subject to increasing degradation by physical means. And the fourth step reminds us that in a sustainable society, people are not subject to conditions that systematically undermine their capacity to meet their needs. Along with Seattle, Washington, and Sacramento, California, Portland holds the #1 spot for city innovation. Paul Schwer, one of the city's leading engineers, was recently awarded the Better Bricks Award by the City of Portland for his innovative work in the design of sustainable, high-performance buildings.
What we're trying to do is apply the best technologies from a variety of different sources to create a building that has the lightest environmental footprint and uses the least amount of energy, for instance, while still creating a comfortable atmosphere for all the people in the building. The building we're in here probably has about 800,000 gallons of water landing on the roof. And as part of that, we reclaim that water. In this particular building, which happens to be an engineering building, the water reclamation system is in the civil engineering lab, so the students get to see where the water comes down, how it's filtered, how it's used in their experiments. As an engineer, we're not inventors, but we're actually pushing the envelope. We're the people who specify the products that other people are inventing. And in some cases, if you're at the forefront, you're looking for products that don't exist yet. Yeah, sometimes I get asked whether, if I were to design a city with all these ideas I have, what would it look like? And my response is, you don't want an engineer designing what a city looks like. It wouldn't be pretty at all. But if you ask me how would that city operate, that's a better question. And how it would operate would be, it would operate on nuclear power. The kind of nuclear power that's generated 93 million miles from here in the sun. So it would be 100% renewable energy, whether it's wind, whether it's solar, whether it's wave energy or geothermal, it would all be from renewable sources.
We believe that climate change and global warming is probably the most significant, serious issue facing mankind today, and we have got to find ways to address it. And we've got to address it soon. And I'm not talking 20 years or 30 years. I'm talking 10 years, maybe max.
Dennis Wild is a principal with Girding Edlin Developers, who, along with Williams & Dane, are developing Portland's south waterfront. The project is the largest economic development in Portland's history and the largest urban development in the nation. The district combines housing for over 3,000 residents, Oregon Health and Science University's research and clinical buildings, and infrastructure development representing thousands of jobs and hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes and consumer revenue to the city.
Our vision is that within 5 years, every building we build, design and build, will be at net zero energy. In other words, the building will give back at least as much energy as it consumes. Now, how are we going to achieve that? So we're going to clad every building with photovoltaic panels. We're going to put wind turbines on the tops of our buildings. Probably we're going to do all that and then more, things that we haven't even envisioned yet. We're going to have to find solutions to. Because without that, without reducing that carbon footprint, if you will, of every building that we build, we'll never achieve the kinds of reductions in greenhouse gases that we need to. Take a building like the Merriweather. There are 243 housing units in that project on a little over 1.5 acres. An equivalent suburban development would take over 55 acres of space, to house the same number of families. So we're reducing the footprint on the land, and then we're also trying to look at the materials that we use in the building in that building, using locally sourced materials, so we aren't shipping them from all across the planet. Looking at the energy we consume and the water we consume. It isn't simply about the bricks and mortar. It's really how do you create a community that sees this as part of their vision. We're going to be getting people out of their automobiles and affording them other ways to move around, whether it's walking or mass transit. For instance, I live here in the South Waterfront. I work down in the Pearl District. It's a 17-minute streetcar ride for me, door to door almost. So, I couldn't ask for a better transit option. And most of the time I ride my bike. It's 15 minutes by bike. Why should we be afraid of reducing global warming? The old saw is, it's going to have a negative impact on the economy. Well, my argument is that baloney. We're going to create jobs. We're going to create new industry. We're going to create a whole new way of doing business that'll be positive for the economy at the same time that we're being responsible to the environment.